Good morning. It is February 18th, 5:45 in the morning. It is a Friday. Thanks a lot for checking up on me. Getting some energy in the morning. Yep. As you can tell, if you're following closely, it's become a bit inconsistent. But anyway, back at it. Forcing myself to get back up and do what I intended to do. There's a good scripture. Basically, it says, whatever you vow to do, finish. It's in Corinthians somewhere. Anyway, full disclaimer alert, if you have not watched the movie October Sky, and you don't want any spoilers for the movie, I'll see you tomorrow, and you can end the video here. But I want to talk about this movie called October Sky. It's a movie that the wife and I just watched last night, and we've been slowly trying to, as a little project of ours, I've been slowly trying to find these movies that I can introduce to her, to let her know what kind of movies I grew up with, or American classics, movies on the top 100 bucket list movies that everybody has to watch. So anyway, I posed that question to a group of fans over dinner at one night, and one of them had said, "What about October Sky?" And I said, "October Sky? I don't think I've ever seen that movie." And so that's what we watched last night. And the only reason I'm making a review, or I'm talking about it, is because that movie was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I don't know where that movie was. I don't know. Hold on, here's the wife. I don't know where that movie. How come I didn't see it? Because it was such a good movie. It's good, clean, lots of meaning in it. So basically, it's a movie. It's a 1999 movie, directed by Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson. I feel like that's the singer's name. But he's the same person that created the movie The Rocketeer and Captain America: The First Avenger. And it's a movie about a group of 4 young boys who grew up in a mining community in the 1950s, and that they try to get there. That is distracting. Group of 4 young boys growing up in a community of miners that their whole lives are destined to be miners, just like their fathers and their grandfathers. It's a generational kind of town that people get stuck in. And these 4 boys, they are inspired to develop rockets in order to enter into the science competition, which hopefully can get them a college scholarship, which could get them out of the community in the end. And it follows the story of Jake Gyllenhaal. He's the protagonist in the story, and there's so many good characters in this movie and so many good undertones that I really took away from it. The father in the movie is a very rock-hard father. Barely ever gets to see him smile. Rules with an iron fist kind of father. This is the way that perhaps in the 1950s, that's how men were. You were a man's man, whereas nowadays we've got more emotion, we show more feeling, but back then it was very much the man's man. And that's how the father ruled the house. And the whole father's life really was mining, and at times he put mining over his children and over his family and over his wife. And the son calls him out on that, and he says, "I'm not destined for this. This is basically your life, Dad. I don't want this life." And the dad's like, "You're gonna do what I say." The dad in the movie, spoiler alert, the dad in the movie gets into an accident in the minings, and so Jake Gyllenhaal's character is forced to leave school that he's currently in in a senior at high school. He's currently a senior, and he has to leave high school because everybody in the family, at least one person per family in that town, has to work in the mines. And so his brother just got a full ride scholarship to go play football, and the brother says no. The brother says, I'm gonna go. You know, I'm the oldest, so I got to go into the mines. And Jake Gyllenhaal said, no, I'll do it. You know, you do your thing and you do your football journey, and I've got nothing basically. This is my life. It was destined to happen. So he picks up this, you know, his pickaxe and his helmet and his flashlight, and he goes down into the mining tunnels. As his father gets better, you know, the father eventually, in a few weeks, comes back and sees his son working in the mining fields, and his father's super proud of him. And at the end of the day, though, Jake Gyllenhaal says, no, I don't want to do this. I'll never do this again. And end of the movie is these 4 boys, they learn math that no one in their town probably knows, that kind of math and trigonometry and calculus. And they go to the science fair for the town, for the city, and eventually they go to the National Science Fair and they win it. And so they get full ride scholarships to get a better education and to get out of that city. So that's basically the theme of the story. But some things I really liked. I did like the father. I could relate to the father and son connection. All the son really wanted was his father's recognition, and all he really wanted was his father to be proud of him. And as he grew and as he made these rockets, because he saw the Russians rocket at night one night, because it was a big thing the Russians had were trying to beat, it was the rocket race back then. They were trying to beat the Americans into space. The Russians had actually launched a rocket, and they saw it one night, and he's like, that's what I'm going to do with my life. But the father's, you know, he lived in the past. His whole mindset was, this is mining. Without our coal, we can't make steel, and if this country doesn't have steel, then this country falls apart. So we need coal, and that is life, whether you like it or not. And yeah, I've at times thought about like my father's recognition, or my father to be proud of me. And there's a couple times in the movies that the boys are making these metal rockets, and they're getting better and better and better. And as they get better, the town starts like supporting them. Some of them help them mill rockets to make. Some of them help them to design the rockets. And as they get better and better and better, this area that they claim as their little rocket launching place becomes like the launch pad. And people from the town, they'll come out and they'll watch. And you see all this support that comes out to watch these 4 boys' growth in making rockets. But he always looks back and he always looks for his father, and his father's never there. Until the very last rocket that they launch, spoiler alert, until the very last rocket launch, he says, I want to dedicate this to my mom, and he says to my dad, and he looks up and his dad comes into the shot, and his dad is actually the one that actually gets to press the button and see the rocket for what it really is, and it flies, you know, tens of thousands of feet into the air. And sometimes I've been in symphonies and I've played at concerts, and that was my life. And to see, I always wanted my father to be there at those performances, and he never was. He never did come to one that I can remember. I think I would have remembered it. But like my grandma, my friends, they all came out to watch my performances back then. But yeah, my dad never came. And so I think that really resonated with me, that in that part of the movie, that the son just wants his father's recognition for something that he's passionate about. But in the movie, he actually gets it in the end. Another thought there too is that the father kind of lives in the past, and his mindset is trying to pull his son back into his life, back into, stay in the past. Like, this is what's tried, true, and set. And the son is very much forward thinking and trying to like stretch for the future, whereas the father is kind of like fearful for that, because it's an unknown place that his father doesn't know. And back then the men, you know, maybe it's a bit of fear, maybe it's a bit of pride, but I want to do what I know is best. And so he tries to pull his son back into, you know, that lifestyle, but the son's like, I'm smart, like I've got brains, I can do this, I don't have to be mining coal. Just like you, that's your life, that's not my life. And one other character in the movie is that there's a teacher in the school that they go to, and she's a very positive, ultra positive teacher with hope and optimism, and just very bright character in the movie that's really pushing the boys to go and pursue this science fair, because she says if she can, you know, one day say that I taught those children that made it to the science fair, then maybe at that time, then I can be proud and tell my future students that I taught these boys. But she really tries to push them, and she says, you're not destined for the mines, and you know that. And so she's the antagonist to the father, trying to counteract, like, get out of here, versus the father saying, stay here. And the mom's character, she's a very quiet mom. The brother is a very jock brother, and he gets the football scholarship, and he tries to do all of that as well. And so he's able to make sure that he can, you know, they say some of the people who are in this movie, or some of the people who are in football, they're the ones that make it out of the city, but never have aspirations of anybody else ever making it outside of the video, inside of the movie. So anyway, that's my review of October Sky. If you haven't seen it, obviously I've spoiled the whole thing for you, but if you haven't seen it, go ahead and see it. It is definitely worth a watch. I went into it very, very fresh. And so I had no idea what it was about, and I didn't do any reviews. But yeah, maybe I'll write a little disclaimer down in the bottom. If you haven't watched it and you have no idea about this movie, then don't watch the review. Yeah. If you have seen it though, please leave a comment down in the bottom. It was a 1999 movie, so it is 23 years old. It's a very, very old movie, but definitely one of those movies to watch. And I'm really, really happy that we watched it together, as well as a friend had mentioned it to us to watch. Hope you guys are doing great. Keep it up. Self-discipline is the way to go, and keep it up. I'll try to keep up my end too, and give me some love, give me some comments, give me some encouragement, and we'll see you guys tomorrow next one. Aloha.